Good afternoon. Welcome to Djuma Game Reserve this afternoon. Beautiful afternoon. The clouds have cleared and we've got a bit of blue sky. We've had a bit of sunshine and it's warmed it up nicely. And well, no real plans for this afternoon except for one in particular that I'm going to leave for a little bit later. And for now we're going to go and look for a few things. Mostly I think what we want to do is we want to look at what is happening. It's spring. It's the equinox. It is a special time of the year. Leaves are coming out. By no means the leaves are full. I mean, when I'm looking at these two apple leaves next to me, actually we can just quickly look at that. There's two apple leaf trees. Their leaves are so young, they're quite small. And in the right light, they have a very pale green look to them. There's another young apple leaf just behind it. And an old stunted apple leaf with very old heavy leaves that's still got to lose them, making a quadrangle. But anyways, one of the trees that is coming into leaf, and at the moment the leaves are very succulent. The giraffe are eating them, elephant are eating them, and it's one of the trees where they're no longer eating roots and things, they're now eating leaves. And we'll look at some others that are coming into leaf and changing with the season. Up ahead I can see a marula that's burst into leaf as well. And up until now, most of our life around us has been drab and dry and grey and brown and dead sticks, or what appear to be dead sticks, twigs. But these twigs are coming alive, and they're coming alive in different colors and different shades and different textures. And there's also a smell to it, there's an atmosphere to it. It's spring. I think you'll know what it's like. For us, we don't have such a harsh winter, so the temperatures and the transition is, the visual transition isn't that stark. It's these subtleties that we got to look for that make that change, that make it suddenly one day it's green. So join us on our drive this afternoon. We're going to drive around Djuma. My name is Mark, Tara is on camera, and Seb and Alex are in FC playing with my hat. And we're going to go and drive. Yeah, sort of. Okay, then I'll just stop talking now. What does this remind you of? There. Zebra tails. Let's stop a distance away before we get to them. They've already seen us. I thought maybe from a distance we'll watch them. See those tails?
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Look how white that zebra's tail is. That youngster. It's very pale. The whole rump is pale, but the tail is very pale towards the top end compared to mom and dad, or mom and
yeah, it looks like
other
it's
mom.
been dipped in the paint in a paint pot.
Or conversely, somebody forgot to paint the stripes.
Yeah.
Well, let's creep closer and see the zebras. Friday afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. The weekend is upon you. There, that must... Oh, it's just another two. Actually, from this angle, it's a nice angle. We'll just get to those two. They're standing in a very classic pose. There's a nice big kudu bull as well. Or, as some of us say, as well. But that stance, it's a very common stance of zebras. Head to tail with another member of your family. And your swishing tail keeps flies out of your face. I left my binoculars at home because they went with me to the lodge. Let's see if we can move forward. We can see that kudu bull. Is that the zebra, you think?
Yeah, I can definitely smell it.
I mean, there is that elephant dung, but I'm not smelling elephant dung.
No, it's definitely...
I'm almost smelling carcass.
No, I'm definitely smelling zebra, eh?
Okay. Tara smelling zebra. You're the one that always says your sense of smell doesn't work.
Only for bad things, and on occasion it does.
Oh, okay.
Although the zebra doesn't smell that bad, the zebra just smells like horse.
No.
It's definitely a horsey smell I'm getting.
Okay, I'm getting a... There's a very strong southerly wind, so when you get a scent, this is the thing about wind, you see. When you've got a really steady wind, look at this beautiful kudu. When you get a really good scent and there's a strong wind, you can pinpoint it a lot easier than when there are these just gusts of wind, because then you get wind from all directions. It can get confusing. But we've had a fairly steady wind coming in from the south now, and those zebra are there. I'm still smelling something.
You see, I've stopped smelling them now. It was when they were crossing the road I really could smell them.
Well, I suppose it travels at the speed of wind. Sorry, we just getting distracted here by scents. Meanwhile, we've got a sight of an incredible bull. I would probably say, look at this guy, he's got his head on the ground and his horns are still taller than his shoulders. I'd say he's probably one of the biggest kudus I've seen in a while. See, I'm getting that smell again. But it's actually more of a dam smell. Maybe it's just sort of coming up from Gowrie Dam and mixing in. More
And we have a question from India.
yeah. Kabir, good day to you. Kabir in India is asking about these animals. Are these animals resident of Juma, or do they migrate from one jungle to another? Kabir, some of the animals that we see here, those animals that are territorial, we will see on a regular basis. But some of these animals, I won't call it migrating, I'd call it seasonal movement. I'd say they just cover vast areas according to the seasons. In different seasons they utilize different areas. It's a little different to migration in that their circles are not governed so much by season, but, well, I suppose in some ways they are, actually. I mean, here we're looking at zebra and kudu. Actually, the zebra moving up pretty much towards where the kudu is, which would be nice. We might get both in the same shot and get a little bit of a size comparison. But both zebra and kudu are animals that are not resident here. They don't have a very strict territory. They move over fairly large areas depending on the seasons, but they'll move slowly. They won't sort of get up and walk from here and do a migratory march. When the rains come, they will probably move back out into the east, into the open plains areas of Kruger. Elephant as well. The elephant, it's not a case of moving from one jungle to another. I suppose in one way, I could say to you, we don't really have jungle here in South Africa. Jungle maybe is not the right term to use for any African habitat. Even our tropical rainforest and dense broadleaf forest in Central Africa, we can't really term jungle. But I don't know what constitutes jungle. But in this part of the world, the animals move freely into other reserves, but it's not like the animals know that they're other reserves. For the animals, it's all one big area, so technically it's just a huge...
So, you just turned around and saw the zebra and got fright.
Oh, I wasn't watching them. I was watching the other zebra that are following. What? Did he turn around?
He turned around and he just obviously got a fright from the zebra standing there. I don't think he realised how close they were. He just did a bit of a jump back.
And I suppose you didn't record that.
No, that was funny.
Okay, I missed that. Because I'm talking to Kabir, so my brain is trying to think about what I'm saying.
It was just so funny.
I should have been watching them, but I'm turning to talk to the microphone. Kabir, elephants. Our elephants here move over hundreds of kilometers. But, as I was saying, to the animals it's all one huge area, and the huge area is the Greater Kruger National Park and surrounding, that incorporates the surrounding private game reserves. But as us humans, we talk about different game reserves, and it makes it very confusing, because we talk about Djuma Game Reserve, and Sabi Sand Game Reserve, and Kruger National Park, and it's really all one thing. And even if we talk about the Timbavati, when I'm going home, I'm going to the Timbavati, or we talk about Baluli or Klesiri or Olifants, where some of our viewers are from, they are different reserves only on paper as far as human beings are concerned, but they're essentially all part of the Kruger National Park. And because it's such a large area, these animals are able to follow seasonal patterns and use different areas according to where the vegetation is in the different seasons. It's not like they follow the rains, or it's not quite like a migration, because they don't all bunch up together and move as one. They will still move in their individual family groups, like this bunch of zebra that we're looking at now. They might collect with a lot of other zebra in the summer months on some of the big open plains, but most of their time they'll be just moving alone as a single family unit. There's what, 2, 4, 5 or 6 of them. They might meet up with relatives, they might meet up with other zebra for a while and use the numbers as a security thing. The more individuals there are, the better it is, the safer it is. So, and it's a good possibility that they saw this kudu and they decided, let's move up and feed where the kudu is, because the kudu's got better hearing than us. The kudu's maybe got better eyesight than us. And boy, the kudu can shout louder than us. So who knows? The mares and the youngsters have moved up. I'm looking at a zebra way back, and that might be the stallion that's looking out over the whole scene. But that to me is definitely a case of the zebra moving up to where the kudu is so that they can graze together. And for the kudu it's great because there are more targets now. For the zebra it's also great because they've got somebody else who's got a different perspective on life. He hears different things, he sees different things. And as long as the kudu is comfortable, the zebra can browse, or rather graze. They're not browsers. They can graze in comfort. I've seen zebra actively move towards giraffe and impala, and we'll often see them with wildebeest. They sort of go hand in hand with wildebeest in most places, but this goes to show they're not always with wildebeest. And when they're out on an open patch like this or an open plain, they will use anybody for a bit of security. Who knows, maybe they think that they got a better chance than the kudu. That if there's lion, then maybe they think, well, we're faster than the kudu, so let's, because when it comes to lion, you actually only have to be faster than the next one. So maybe the zebra thinking, well, we can get away quicker than the kudu. And we'll leave the kudu to the lion and we'll all get away. Kudu is saying, well, that's fine. Bunch of slowpoke, bloated zebra. Lion comes along and is going to go for the black and white. He's not going to go for me. We could go down there actually. Let's go around there. Get a much closer view. We're going to get the light on them. And who knows, might give us some direction to go this afternoon. See what the guys are up to. Up to the stations, getting mobile. Oh, they only go out at 4, don't they?
I think they've changed, yeah. I think they are going out.
Okay, there is Karula in the Cubs, or there is the sighting. Sighting is singular, so there is. And there's quite a few more zebra up here. Bigger herd than I thought. 3 more up here. So I was thinking.
Don't do that. Don't think.
Don't think.
It's never good to think.
Oh no, I do best when I'm thinking. Driving over bumps in the road. That's the zebra been rolling here in the dust. Zebra love to roll in the sand. Look at this fresh growth here on this multiple stemmed, large fruited bush willow. This used to be a very big tree. It was pushed over by elephants and it recoppiced in so many places that all the little branches that came up became new trunks. And we've seen elephants feeding on this. And they'll come and harvest a few branches every year, and every year they do that, it just gets bigger. And in summer this is going to be tremendous shade. It's going to be this very dark shade in there. And all this new growth popping out. Guinea fowl are calling, the communicative call. We're also going to see a marulu tree, but they coming to leaf too. They'll be coming to flower now as well, if not already. Yes, Sept. Good dear, how much would the horns weigh? I'm not sure. Not as heavy as a buffalo. I'd say probably around 5 kilograms. 5-6 kilograms, maybe 7. Good 55-inch horns. I think record is about 61 inches. That's like 5 feet of kudu horn. But you don't measure it in a straight line. You've got to measure it around the twist. Is that a raptor? No, roller. The European rollers are coming back. Not sure, dear, how heavy those horns are. Such an incredible antelope, this. No, go again with it. Hello, Dr. Rita. In Florida. How are you today? Googling kudu horns and finding that, well, being very shocked to find that they're for sale. I'm not surprised. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there are ranches in Texas and even Florida that breed kudu for hunting trophies. They're one of those antelope. Look at that, he's walking directly behind a stick. Only one little stick there has to be in the whole open area, and he's got to walk behind it. Anyways, it's interesting to see that the zebra actually following him again. He's moved up a bit. I remember that zebra. I remember when it was a baby. It's got such tight stripes on its shoulder. That little yearling. And I'm seeing another kudu in the distance. Another kudu bull, perhaps. I don't have my binoculars. Directly behind that zebra, another kudu coming down this way.
Which yearling were you talking about? This one here?
The one
The
that's
one with
behind
the
the kudu.
Okay, this one here that's in the screen
Yeah,
now.
if you go beyond it, there's another kudu coming. Oh, and I nearly got a good shot.
Just behind the branches for it.
Yeah, possibly.
I'm not seeing it at the moment.
Now he's got its legs just above that zebra's ear and its tail flicking just above the zebra's ears. But that very tight pattern on the shoulder, I remember when that was a foal, that zebra. These zebra they come back to the same place every year. I'm sure they do because they're familiar with it. Zebra barcodes, kudu barcodes. I think it's her previous foal actually, and that's her new foal. I really do. Following the kudu. See, he's crossed the road. They're like puppy dogs. Following the kudu. He's going off into the thicker bush. And there's a young bull. I think it's a young bull coming down. Yeah, it is. From the back, from the briar area.
Take from the nearest street, pick up anything.
Right, let's move on. Let's go find something else. Oh, you found the other kudu. Yeah, look at that little boy, 2-year-old. Not even. He's probably also hanging out in the vicinity of a big kudu bull. He needs to learn a few things. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets the odd sparring lesson. I want to go and see where some elephants are. I'm hoping maybe one of the classes are with us today. Very interesting question, Brent. Hello, Brent, New Orleans. New Orleans. Oh. There we go. Let's stop and say goodbye quickly. A few things to actually see. Looking at that mother in her foal and the background of the marula trees coming into leaf. They also got sort of a reddish hue to their leaves when their leaves first start coming out.
Good afternoon, that's Galago shortcut, Galago main exit, heading east towards the Bow Road. I don't know where much is going. Also, I hear people talking about the Nyati to Madam. Okay, copy that. Thanks. I will think I will go quickly to the south. So now, okay, copy. So that's true, my daughter. You think they gonna lala there and then to yeah, that was so good.
So what Brent was asking, these kudu horns, sorry Brent, I was just listening to the radio and I just have to actually just respond quickly. Text come in? Yeah. Thanks Henry. Yeah, I'm still on the western edge of quarantine with Nongo and Mangwa. Don't really know where to look. But Brent was asking, the size of these kudu horns, doesn't it make it difficult for them to spar and fight? To some degree, yes. But they do size each other up on the horns. And what can occur is that the serious twist. Their horns can get intertwined and they can lock. Even impala, they don't have quite the twist, have been known to lock horns. I guess when you think about natural selection and how these horns have come about, that at some point it becomes so difficult to spar with really, really big horns that it becomes no longer the point of selection by having very big horns. So at some stage in the history of the kudu, the norm, there must have been a norm, or not really a norm, but there must have been a level reached where the horns got so big or big enough that they were still effective in fighting and effective enough to become the dominant bull, yet not so big that they became a hindrance, because as soon as they become a hindrance, they no longer help you when you're fighting, so then you no longer become the dominant bull. So that gene for big horns no longer becomes a deciding factor in the evolution of a species. So the very fact that they have big horns already lends itself to the thought that they must be quite competent at fighting. In fact, they have got to be the best at fighting with the size horns that they do have. And perhaps any bigger than that, it would become a hindrance.
down to those in Karula and Won't you give me a shot when you get there? Okay, sure.
Well, there's land elsewhere that a lot of the guys are going to, which means that they're no doubt going to go back to Karula later. So we might have to go and see Karula first. Kudu has moved down here, the zebra has moved down here. It's such a beautiful view, this kudu and the zebra just behind it. And now this other mare and her foal and the stallion. Oh, stallion's got a pulled muscle or something. What's wrong with you, dude? You're like an old man. You're walking like me sometimes. Because you got gout. Right shoulder. Looks like his right shoulder's giving him a bit of a, oh, maybe it's his hoof. And he's decided to come down to the drainage line with his mares. Weird weather coming in. The flat cloud is gone, but there's some pretty big cumulus building up. He hasn't got a real visible limp, but every now and then he sort of, you can see his, he doesn't want to put too much weight on that leg. Okay, let's go find something else. And perhaps we'll go and see if we can watch Karula for a bit, because it might get busy a little bit later, which means that the time that we want to really see Karula, we might not be able to. I was hoping we could. Bye bye, children. Thank you. Look after yourself. Might just be a pulled muscle. And here's this little kudu. He's a bit nervous, the wind's picking up. Not sure where to run. I'm going to sneak past him. Relax, dude. Hello, Brenda. I guess, Brenda, you didn't catch what I was saying about the zebra following the kudu. I don't know, we've had a few streaming issues earlier. But yes, very much so, Brenda. That's why the kudu is being tailed by the zebra, or rather why the zebra are... They saw him pretty much the same time as I saw him, and immediately made their way down to him. And they got down to the road, and then he started moving up towards the east again. So they followed him, and then he turned around and he went west, and they followed him, and they're definitely using him for protection. Various reasons why they would do that. What?
You want to see the baboons? You see them right next to the road.
No, because I'm just thinking that sometimes it's disheartening that we go into a long parade about something, or rather a whole speech about something, and nobody hears. It's heartbreaking sometimes. Hello, Gary gang. So I'm looking at the sky and not even thinking, and the baboon are right here. And see, Tara's with me, so they're not running away. can't really see them from here, can we?
If you could go back slightly, we could see Shirley and Jesse.
Okay. Yeah?
Perfect.
So yes, I mean the zebra are known to do that with all sorts of animals, but a lot of the browsers and greys, a lot of the herbivores will collect together and they will
Copy, thank you.
feed
I will
together.
Be making my way also, I'm just on the eastern side of Gary Dam with the boys.
Even baboons do that, funny enough. They'll hang out with impala or other animals too. A lot of the prey species, not necessarily only the herbivores, a lot of the prey species, because warthog are included there, baboon, primates like vervet monkeys. Safety in numbers is what it's all about. And yes, there is the thing that some of them have good eyesight and some of them have good hearing, and the whole thing is that they're all at different heights, they're all feeding on different things, they're all looking up at different moments, they've all got different alarm calls that everybody else understands. So it makes sense to all be together to look out for danger, because as long as there's more of other things around you, there's less chance that you're going to be the one that gets caught. So it's very much a safety thing. Can't see him nicely, but he's hanging onto that branch. The way he's sitting is so, well, he is a primate. I was going to say it's so human-like, but it's not. It's primate-like. His feet on the bottom branch. Can you get close to his toes, maybe?
Try.
He doesn't want his toes on camera. So he's become troop leader. Well, sort of. He thinks so. And the females let him believe so. They're actually the leaders. But since he's moving, they're going to move too. I think they've been waiting for him. So he was a young whippersnapper. He was just a youngster, and now suddenly he's the man of the house. Aubrey, come in. You're Aubrey. Come here, Engwe. Copy, thanks. Thanks, Gilly. Gilly just reminded me that sometimes new viewers tune in. I shouldn't feel bad that you miss what I say. I suppose that's true. It's just that sometimes, you know, when the stream breaks up, we kind of get excited. We all do, all three of us. We get excited at the start of a drive, and that's when we kind of sometimes got so much to tell you, and it just somehow it's sometimes heartbreaking to get a message to say, oh, this was so choppy, stopping and starting, and well, it's happened to all three of us on drive. It does happen, and it's just it's internet. There's nothing that can be done. It's just the way the internet works. We're in Africa. We're broadcasting from a vehicle in a remote place in the bush in Africa. It's not like we're sitting in the city with Wi-Fi and broadband. So these things are bound to happen, and we just got to roll with those punches. We're still doing something unique. We're still doing something that nobody else is doing. And it's pretty incredible. Okay, let's do some more. They're climbing a termite mound. Actually, let's just see if we can see them on that termite mound. Geordie sitting in the terminalia. Gordy as in Gordon.
Probably.
And there, sorry girls, yeah, relax. Sitting on the termite mound. Strong wind coming up. It's going to change things a little bit this afternoon. Now, that is one of the reasons why you find so many fruiting trees and trees that have palatable fruits growing on a termite mound, because they use as vantage points. And although they're used by so many different animals, there are very few animals that actually will defecate on the top of the termite mound once they've been sitting there. The baboon is one of them.
Can I join? Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Everybody's going to get a little bit nervous now. And this wind, it's a strong wind coming. Sure. It's almost like there's going to be a storm.
Yeah, looks like Manana is not coming. Not sure it's coming from Cambodia. Yes, okay.
Sure. It's like doubling in strength every minute, this wind. Okay, let's move on a bit. Sure.
Okay, if we don't get rain tonight, I'll be very surprised.
I know, but look how blue it is down south. It's open sky there now. But, what was it?
That was them.
How about children?
That's
The remnants
pretty
of the-
ominous up ahead of us.
Remnants of the buffalo herd is, well, the whole buffalo herd is still here. Okay, Shamanyari is still just south of English Kaya, south of Walbergs Road. Huge buffalo herd. But where's that lion? Doom, 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 doom. Flowers. Quick zoom. Oh, we lost the light. New leaves, new life, new leaves, new flowers. Gee, I tried to put that all into one word. New leaves, flowers, and life on large fruited combretum. Little, almost bottle brush type flowers on the bush willows. Just behind it actually is a gardenia. Hello Ed. Connecticut Ed or Ed P. Oh, there's a resin bush in flower, but we'll try and find another gardenia. There's a few yellow, one white one, a few yellow ones on that gardenia. We'll find another one or two. In fact, might be rain up there. That's rain there, maybe.
That's what I was showing you before.
Pardon?
That's what I was just showing.
Oh, you've just been showing that cloud. Okay. Great minds think alike. Ed was saying that seems to be a lot of lion with eye injuries of late. Is it a common thing? It is, Ed, when you get so many, well, I suppose in some ways so much testosterone around a kill site and so much aggression with big males living with each other. I mean, when they get hungry and they make a kill, they must fight over things, fight over place at that carcass second to none. And I've seen lion, even mothers with their claws in their cubs' heads, and the injuries that lions sustain. Okay, there are going to be 3 vehicles at. That's not going to be. There are 3 vehicles at that leopard already.
Where is she? Up on the fire break?
Yeah. Aubrey's there, Henry's there, and Abel's going to be there now. So we'll give them a break. Let's see, we had elephants coming this way, so let's go around. Run, squirrel. I'm driving here. Where are you off to? Good. Squirrel. Weird weather, very strange and windy. We had a whole bunch of elephants coming this way, so let's do a loop through the dip around onto Vulture's Nest. Maybe look at the Vulture's Nest. I don't want to crash into this bush. There's a couple of 100 buffalo that are in here. They might come out a bit later. Maybe sunset. It's nice to see buffalo at sunset because you get this herd moving and a lot of dust being kicked up. Although today with this wind, I don't know how much of an effect we'll get. So, lion, yes, I get so distracted sometimes. They fight over a kill, and that's when eye injuries occur, because that's that when they're eating, their claws and their faces are in the same place, and they claw to jowl around the carcass. Ooh. Green dragonfly. And sometimes when there's not enough space on the carcass and lion are fighting for a space, they'll actually forego chewing and eating for just holding on to one special little part of that carcass, because they know that if anything happens, if pandemonium erupts, and at least it'll come away with a little bit. And sometimes if you've got a really good end, you might come away with a bigger piece. Not necessarily buffalo, things like smaller prey, anything from impala to kudu. With that many lion, if they're feeding on things that are not big enough for all of them to feed at the same time. But the other thing is that these lion are also, a lot of the lion here are killing buffalo. I mean, we're having multiple on the radio. We don't get to see it that often because it's across our boundaries. But there are multiple buffalo kills a week. Today it's the Talalas up on Cheetah Plains. The Talalas, the Cheetah Plains have got a buffalo. Yesterday, the 2 of them, the Matimbas, I think, that's them, because the guests were telling me, I had breakfast today with Moira and March and Hart, Becky's mom and dad, and they were telling me that one of the lion up on Buffelshoek that they've been watching today, one of those ones on a buffalo kill, he's the one that's got a scar above and below his eye. So it might not be the same one that's lost the eye.
I'm not convinced it is, because I was looking at pictures today and there's no mark above or below.
No, I also saw that.
It's been gouged out.
Yeah, and that's probably from a claw.
Yeah, that's what they reckon.
That's got to have been from a claw, from one of his brothers fighting at a carcass. That lion that's got the scar is a different lion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I suppose, Ed, we could say that it is a common thing. Eye injuries, and if you look at lion and we look at them closely, it's not only their eyes, but their whole face. Facial injuries probably account for most of the lion's injuries. Torn ears, scars on the nose, because they're constantly smacking each other in the face. Anyway, vulture's actually standing up. Don't know what we'll see from this angle. We'll try. No, not going to see much. We'll see if we can see little one from this angle. But now it's getting difficult. The jackalberry is getting its leaves again, and because the jackalberry is getting its leaves, it is somewhat impossible to keep track of what's going to be happening up there in the top of the nest. Coughing today, not hiccups.
Oh, so we went down this road.
Seeing much up there at all. Okay, let's move along. Christine, hello Christine. In Ohio. Ohio. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Christine wanted to know what baboons eat. Baboons are omnivorous, Christine. They will eat grass blades in summer. They will pick grass blades one by one and eat grass. They will eat leaves. They will eat flowers. They will eat berries and fruit. But they love a little bit of protein from time to time. So they do eat insects, birds' eggs, anything they can get their grubby little paws on, really. I've seen baboons lifting rocks and logs to get anything underneath, even scorpions, and they know to pinch the sting off and eat the scorpion. I've known... Well, then you get the hunting baboons too, because every now and then, towards the end of the dry season, they might get a little bit of a longing for a little bit more protein than normal. And it's at those times that they might hunt. Yeah, this is what Seb and I had. It started off a nice day, and then suddenly, I think it was Seb's last drought, suddenly it just turned nasty with this really powerful wind. Anyway, anyway, so suddenly these baboons turn on their friends, the impalas and the warthog. They kill and eat their babies. It's a sad thing to watch because baboons don't kill things in a very neat way when they're eating small mammals. Baboons also know that humans have half-decent food. They know how we keep it. They're clever enough to get into our stuff. Break open doors and fridges. That's comfortable there for you.
I actually haven't been in here to do jump, actually.
Pardon?
I haven't been in here to do jump.
Franklin's chirping a little bit behind us. Buffalo tracks, elephant tracks. Yeah, unfortunately, with this kind of wind, you're going to age tracks very, very quickly unless they're sheltered. Like here, this little bend. Giraffe tracks. Adult's head sticking up from this angle. It's looking into the sun. It's not a great angle for the vulture's nest, but it's too windy. Probably just tucking down just under the rim of the nest every now and then. Keep baby safe. From Vic. Oh, William. Hello, William. Another interesting question. Actually, all questions are interesting. But William is asking if vultures kill for themselves or if they mainly scavenge. William, most of the vultures, almost all of them, scavenge. Vultures don't have a very strong, well, first of all, their talons, you see. Their talons are perhaps make them different to the eagles and the other raptors, in that most other raptors and birds of prey are able to use their talons in the killing. And a lot of the eagles, when they kill prey that is fairly large, they use their talons to penetrate the opposing talon, the back talon, to penetrate the brain case of the animal and kill it instantly. How a lot of eagles kill primates and small antelope and things. But vultures don't have that ability, and they also don't have the ability to grasp things with their talons. They might have very strong beaks, but even then they don't have strong enough beaks to be able to kill. I've heard that leopard-faced vultures are known to make a kill, and lammergeiers are known to make their own kills to some degree. Lammergeiers are able to carry things, I think, in their talons. But all the other vultures their task to clean up carcasses, to clean up the dead, the undertakers. You know, it's not that much of a repulsive thought for me, at any rate. The way I live my life, the day I die, to just have my bones picked by scavengers and distributed all over the bush. Feather.
I'm leaving one station with the Karula. Thanks for two. Thanks very much. And
Radius 2 round. Well, this is quite sad. This would have been a juvenile barn owl. Feathers are still quite small. And there are quite a few feathers lying around. This is one of the flight feathers. There's some breast feathers. Really pretty little feathers. Barn owl that was killed by something. Funny, I was talking about a barn owl that was killed, that I saw, that was killed by a Wahlberg's eagle once. Okay. I can't find enough feathers to see, and I can't really tell. Looks like they've been plucked, and I'm thinking that it's the way they've been plucked and the way the shafts of the feathers are broken. Looks like it was another bird that plucked them, rather than a predator that bit into the feathers and pulled the feathers out. You find broken shafts, and you find the ends of the shafts broken off, cut off, when it's a cat. Not enough feathers lying around. Is that, what's that?
Really?
It's almost like a tree duck. Have the what plants? Sorry, Sept? The coral plants. Ah, okay. Jerry, wanting to know if the coral. But which coral? The coral Senecio, which bloomed in July, because they were flowering beautifully in July, and I found a lot more of them. Or you're talking about the coral tree, the Erythrina. That's still coming in summer. But the coral Senecio, which is Kleinia fulgens, that flowered in winter, that flowered in June, July. I wonder, did anybody let us know about, or any of the zoomies, if you tell us if there were elephants at the dam today? Found a lovely big group of ellies this morning, and they were due north of us, along, this is the drainage line we're going into now, they were just straight along this way. So they might still be there now. Could do it there. Looking down into the drainage line. But look, there's a hornbill playing with dung. Its name must be Tara. Tara the hornbill. No, digging in dung for
Doesn't
so
quite
much.
work.
Sorry. Opening the dung looking for, because it's this time of the year when there are going to be things in the dung. Sorry, and I was talking at the same time as Seb. What was that, Seb? Sherry? Oh, Shirley. Oh, Shirley. When will the orchid be in bloom again? When will the orchid be in bloom again? November to March, maybe. I think. Can't remember now. Surely I should know these things, surely. And Celia. Okay, elephant tracks going that way to the dam. But then nobody's been here on Centre Road, so it should have been this morning. So, if any of the zoomies can let us know if there were any elephants at the dam today. Looking for... Oh, there's a water buck. And our beautiful big jackalberry. I was showing people the jackalberry this morning. It's transforming from just a skeleton, now getting its new leaves and completely different shape to when it's going to have all its leaves and an oriole flying by. A water buck. And Celia, Artemisia, Anona, and a Lima. Let's try and Celia. Got barn fowl feathers, barn feather owl. Barn owl feathers in my flower book. Gee, quite a tongue twister. Barn owl feathers in my flower book. And Celia will be flowering in, well, now I suppose, any time now. Book says August to December. I was looking at the one on Rebecca's Road. Still got its pods from last year. So any time now we must look at some of these orchids. And the one on... Okay, let's go. On the one on Elephant Skull Road. Gee, why couldn't my brain come up with that? Vivian wanting to know, last time we saw Mgodi, the elephant, gee, that was a long time ago. I'd have to go through my photographs, but he hasn't been around, Vivian. Long time now. Those elephants possibly headed up towards Buffelshoek Dam too. They were halfway between Gowrie and Buffelshoek Dam, so strong possibility when they came across, they went east instead of west. There's no tracks here either. Might well have crossed here then. Rosie. We checked. Okay, cool. Any statement of English? There is. Alright, go again, Abel. Thanks, and Paul. Are you there?
Where now?
And Antonio. Thank you. So he said, okay. William wanting to know, why do the wild dog not stay in this area? Don't they like this area? Well, it's not really that, William. They have a home range, they have an area that they're familiar with, and that's kind of the area that they cover. When they come to this part of the world, it's just an extension of their hunting forays and the looping that they do to get to be able to cover enough ground when they're hunting. Wild dog don't really stay in one place. Wild dog cover huge amounts of territory. When they're denning, it's a different story. When they're denning, they never very far. They don't hunt very far from the den because they have to bring meat back to the den. Right, we're back at Karula, the site of Karula's nefarious deeds. We'll have a look this side where Abel was now. He seems to be moving on somewhere. But they've all been around here. They were all around here this morning. There was the fetus in the tambuti tree. The carcass was underneath the bush here. It looks like it's been moved further in. There's a little gardenia at the back there. I can see a cat moving in the grasses here inside this. Looks like it might have dragged it deeper in. I'm not going to see anything from here. I can see a cat in there that's eating, but it's a matter of being able to see it. Can you see it? Okay. Very deep in. Okay, not gonna get anywhere there. Maybe from this angle, see a little bit of one of them finally feeding on this carcass. Spent so much time playing this morning, none of them were feeding. Half decent view down there. There was still quite a lot of the carcass left this morning. I think the prize, and it's going to be this way with a lot of the predator kills this time of the year, the female impala are a little bit heavy because they're reaching the last couple of months of their pregnancy, in fact the last maybe 5-6 weeks of their pregnancy. And that does make them slower, it does make them easier to catch. And for a lot of the predators, the prize is actually the carc, as sad as it is, the fetus. And that seemed to be what was the main focus between yesterday evening and this morning. I can remember yesterday we had little Shavinzi feeding on the back of the carcass of this female, and what we couldn't see, what was out of sight, was her feeding on the head of the young impala. And then at some point she actually pulled the fetus out and placed it on top of the adult impala's belly and fed on it there. It was a little bit gruesome, and it brought home the reality of what Africa is, as personal as we can make these animals, or rather as much as we can personalize them and love them and want to see them all the time. We do have to remember that these are animals that are still going to do what animals do, and it's going to possibly upset us, and it's probably going to disgust us, some of us. But that is the reality of what nature is. Nature's been doing this for millions of years, and there's no place for human emotion in it all. Now, she didn't finish that carcass. She actually fed on quite a lot of it, but when we got here this morning, it was in this little tambuti tree directly above this little one. I think this is this little boy.
I'd be glad to see.
I haven't been able to see yet, but there's Karula. I think that's Karula at the back there.
Yeah, she's sitting at the back.
This morning we were up and down because she was up there. Shavinzi was stalking her and pouncing on her, and there was just so much activity. They were down here where we are now, and we would come down here, and then they would go back up there, and we'd have to go back up there. So we're going to move around a little bit. In fact, while we've got some nice light, let's maybe move, because little one's not really, can't really see much of little one from here. So let's go up and have a look at Karula. I think it's very lucky that the hyena haven't come by today. But anyway, this little tambuti was where the remainder, this morning was where the remainder of that fetus was. And we watched Shavinzi go up there, and then she proudly carried it off. I'll show you now. And that might be even where she is right now. I don't know, I think that might be him. But there's a little animal pathway that goes in the bush here. We've actually seen them, I've seen them disappear down this path before. But she disappeared down here with the remainder of that part of the carcass. Hello, pretty girl. Is that good, Carl?
Back there was better.
Okay.
She's got a
That grass, yeah, I saw that. Not doing much good for the erosion of this road, the way we've been careful, we've been up and down, that's spinning tires.
That's nice.
There. That is a beautiful view of her. Listening to something, could be listening to the other one moving behind her. But this morning when everybody arrived here there was only the one, and then we sat here for some time and eventually all three of them were here. These are going back, I wonder what it is. Wow, the wind is whipping through a knobthorn behind her. It's making her a little bit nervous. Got to be a little bit more alert than normal because the wind will make so much noise. she can't take some of the noises for granted, that they're not hyena or something coming. Yeah, there's an apple leaf back there, and that's also being whipped around by the wind a little bit, and the new leaves are starting to make a noise. While camera's on Karula, I'm going to take this opportunity to put on a t-shirt. And while there are no other people around. So my earpiece is out for a minute, Seb. You know what I've just realised? Is that between now, we've only got about 2 drives each until we go and leave.
Is that what it is?
2 days of drives, I mean.
Oh, word.
Because it's what? It's Friday already. So I'm going to drive on Monday. Only on Monday.
Sure.
So yeah.
I haven't even thought about
You've
it.
got 2 more days of drives, and Seb's got 2 more days of drives. So we've got to think about things of what we. It's not like we've got a lot of time left. I mean, it's only till we go and leave, and then we're going to be back. Of course, it's not like we're going anywhere forever. But that's just suddenly occurred to me when I'm sitting here with these children. Do you know how I love elephants? I mean, you know that I would sit with elephants all day if I had to, but I also know that I'm going home, and I know that I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks with elephants, but I'm not going to spend the next 2 weeks with... Sorry, girl, am I talking too loud? You don't like me moving, putting my t-shirt on. Probably the same shirts you pulled off of the line and sniffed at. I'm not going to see these children for 2 weeks. And I think lately, the last couple of weeks, we've just had such a fantastic time with them because they're back on Western Gari. We've been seeing them like we saw Mission and Duna, and we're starting to get so familiar with them now in more ways than we have in the first few months of their life. I'm going to miss them. I'm just going to miss knowing what they're doing every day. I will, with luck, see leopard at home. I didn't see the big male lot that I have around my house that is normally there. He comes through. Didn't see him last time I was at home. Hi everybody, welcome back. We had a power cut back at the lodge, or back at FC, and I actually heard the computer restarting when Seb was on the radio, windows reopening. So, oh, she's nervous. So you lost us for a little bit, didn't miss much. But she is, compared to this morning when there wasn't a breath of wind and how relaxed she was, she's so alert this afternoon. Any little noise, she's looking to see what it is. Putting her head down now, finally. sigh. Hello, Sue. Sue Mac. Why isn't the kill up a tree? And isn't it in danger of being stolen by the predators? Sue, only Karula knows why it's not up a tree. But really, sometimes she makes a kill and she's fairly confident that there are no predators around, that she can have it on the ground. Just heard something. It is in danger. The more she makes kills on the ground, of course, yes, very much so. Definitely in danger of being stolen by other predators. And the fact that the hyena haven't found it yet is actually quite remarkable. Particularly because just west of us, on Gallagher Shortcut this morning, was a lot of hyena tracks. There was a lot of hyena activity. There was even lion activity there. There was lion tracks there too. What was that?
Sound like thunder.
Could that have been thunder?
Sound like it.
Very loud noise. Don't get those kind of noises in the bush unless it's thunder or Palabora mine blasting or Hoedspruit Air Force Base flying overhead on a Wednesday, breaking the sound barrier. That only happens at home in the Timbavati. You don't hear it from here. Anyways, every time she does have a kill on the ground, she has the danger of it being stolen, and very, very often, funnily enough, she does have her kills stolen by hyena because she doesn't treat them as readily as maybe some other leopards, most other leopards. She's brimming with confidence. She clearly under the impression that she's in a safe spot right here, that the hyenas haven't been able to find her yet and won't find her. They could come along any minute. Everybody points. Okay, we're back. Okay, welcome back everybody. Helen, the kill is just down the bottom there with one of the youngsters. Welcome back everybody. Another power cut back in FC. Could have something to do with this wind. Could have a lot to do with the wind and the weather. I think it's pretty well. Let's move out, let Andrew come in here. Let his guests get to see Karula. Andrew coming? Andrew, want to know how to come up here? They're going that way, so. Not going that way. Karula, yeah. Because she was chasing Franklin's here and he was sleeping here today.
You actually go back as well. You go back.
sleeping there under that log. Okay. Hello, little girl. Well, she dominated today, this morning. Around the kill and with the little bit of fetus that there was. Oh, we can even see Karula from here.
I was going to say, we can actually see it quite nicely.
Yeah. And we can see him too. Not great, but we can see all three of them from here. See, now if we sit at a sighting like this, where we're sitting somewhat out of the sighting and we can zoom in, we should be allowed to be here with three, then others can move in and out if they want to. Karula's watching something. And after 24 hours or maybe a little bit more, and things been a little bit hot, things are starting to smell a little bit. I think it's only a matter of time until hyenas start picking it up. The wind isn't as consistent as it was, so they will pick up the smell, but it might take them a bit of time to finally hone in on where it is. She's looking at something again.
I got the tumor that Angala, big dam at north. The Lala Pass also from Kobe. Do the route. Bye-bye. Yeah, well, we be done about 2.5. After that,
Is she looking at something or she just said, I can't see her now.
I can't see too well. I think she's still looking in that direction where she was looking. So he's also picked up something.
Yeah, I think he's listening to her though.
She's settled down again.
And he's gone back to feeding, and Shaminzi didn't even lift her head.
Oh, she's right behind the tumbleweed now.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And we're sitting at a sort of not. It's at a spot now where we can't really see much of them. Just waiting for something to change. I'm just letting the other vehicles view Karula. Only because I want to stay here and I know these vehicles are going to be moving on. One of the vehicles is moving on now, and I'm sure we'll get back into a good coming back live again. Okay, we're live again. Welcome back, everybody. Get another power cut back at FC. Andrew, who's that who wants to come in? Okay, I'll pull out. Okay, thanks, Alan. Okay. Hello, Deborah in Ohio. What age will these youngsters venture off and make their own territories? Will they stay? What age? Well, Deborah, it could be around 2 years old. It's something we're gonna have to wait and see. It's one of those things we're gonna have to wait and see. Around 2 years old, 18 months to 2 years old is when leopards can become independent. They might hang around a little bit longer. But we're going to have to see what happens. There's no predicting what can happen with regards to territories and where they're going to go, what they're going to do, what age they're going to do it. One of the perhaps draw cards of watching Juma Live drives is that we watch the saga unfold, and the beauty of it is that we can't say, well, there's a given date when these cubs are going to be independent and they're going to leave and everything's going to change again, as we've seen in the past how so unpredictable it all is. So really, to be honest with you, the best answer I can give is watch and wait and watch and learn, because we're learning with you. And cubs are going on a year old in November, and well, we've got at least, I would say, at least another 8 months, 8 to 10 months of seeing them with Karula. Next year, this time, going into spring, I think that's a different story. We'll see, because up until now, Karula has been coming into estrus and having cubs every 2 years. So next year, this time, we'll have to wait and see what she's going to do. And as far as them staying in the same territory, that's another thing we're not going to be able to tell. And with a strong likelihood of the young male having to move on account of other males, bigger males in the area, maybe pushing them on, but the young females might. What are you doing? It's okay, it's fine. You can still see she's still asleep. There's one on that side. One here, one that side. So it's one of those things. It's a wait and see kind of game. We're gonna have to spend as much time as we can with them in the next year, and hopefully have some of these questions answered. The biggest problem, of course, is when they do reach that age where they are moving on, is not being able to follow them and follow their lives, and that's when we rely on other lodges and other reserves around here to maybe send in photographs. We're having the same dilemma now when it comes to Karula's previous two cubs, who she had in 2008. The two boys. And we've seen in Duna, one of the boys we've been seeing quite a bit, even with these two cubs. But the other young boy in Mishu moved on, and he's probably been pushed so far out that we don't really know where he is. There was a hint that he might have been at a lodge in the southern region or in the central region of the Sabi Sand, but we didn't get strong confirmation. We didn't get good photographs to compare. And the photographs of leopard that they did have on the site were not good enough. Well, they were good enough, they just definitely weren't him. So they weren't good enough to confirm ID. No, I'm not talking about that, I'm sorry. I draw the line on some things. But, sorry, Petra will know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about trophy hunting. Maybe a fireside chat or something. Ellen! Sorry, Alan. We have to take a dig at you when we get emails from you. But it's a really great question coming from Alan. Hi, Alan. King Alan. King Alan. And it is a very interesting question, funnily enough. But something that could actually spark off an interesting discussion. Because Alan is saying that it would seem from documentaries that the preferred method of killing for leopard is leaping out of trees onto their prey. Whereas here we've noticed Karula and other leopards tend mostly to kill their prey on the ground. Is this a habitat thing? Is it a learned behavioral thing? And it is a very interesting subject because it depends. You know what? Somebody wanted an "It Depends" T-shirt.
A few people want it.
Okay, I think we better do something. Like Tara was getting examples for the who done it. Let's get some examples of "It Depends." It's a nice T-shirt. It depends, and remarkable creatures. I could have put up one of those on the shop as well. Anyways, Alan, funny enough, you know that I've never really noticed it from leopards, especially here in the Sabi Sand, nor in the Timbavati. And I have spent many hours and years, in fact. I really hate it when people start making noises at animals to try and get a rise out of them. And they shouldn't be here. Sorry. I'm voicing my opinion. I must bite my tongue. Alan, the leopards in this part of the world, I think partly because they don't have the trees, the type of trees. So it is to some degree a habitat thing. They don't have the type of trees where they can lounge around in the trees. They also don't necessarily sleep in the trees as they do that I've seen in East Africa. And I've seen that kind of behavior in East Africa. I've seen also more of an arboreal habit of leopards in East Africa than I've seen here in South Africa. Here in South Africa, leopards will sleep under trees. They will sleep in the shade. They don't necessarily will sleep in the trees. In fact, I think if you look at our leopard sightings and the number of leopard sightings that we have, you will find that 90% of them are actually on the ground. Whereas I would say that in East Africa, I wouldn't quite say the other way around. I don't know if Dave and Sarah and Phil, those of you who spend time in Kenya, if you can agree with me, but I think a lot of the sightings that I've had in East Africa tend to be more in trees, whether they're with kills or not. Leopards are in trees, and that's got a lot to do with, firstly, the type of trees that are available to them. Secondly, the prevalence of biting flies that we don't have here in the numbers that they have in East Africa. And, well, heat has something to do with it too. But it's that elephants. The leopards up in East Africa tend to lie up in the trees in the shade to get away from the tsetse flies. And in places where, like I've lived, where there are multiple sausage trees, baobabs, some of these big trees that animals tend to congregate under, you find a higher prevalence of leopards diving out of trees onto animals, as opposed to here. There isn't really anything here that will hold an animal or attract an animal to the base of a tree in the same way that it does, say, when the sausage trees are flowering, and it's the kudu, the bushbuck, the nyala, the impala, the kind of animals that are drawn to the sausage tree flowers, where the sausage tree is a predominant tree species. So it's a little bit of both. Here, the leopard, I suppose, because they don't do it and they don't have the trees to do it, I suppose you could say they aren't in the habit of doing it that much, and they haven't learned how to do it. But it just also goes to show that behavior is not a thing that you can put in a book and say this is what leopards, or this is what a particular animal does. The very fact that it is a behavioral trait automatically should suggest that it is something that might only be local, might only be for the leopard of that area. Wow, sky's getting grey, temperature's getting cold. Let's go and see if we can see Karula now that everybody's gone. Shavinzi's fast asleep under the tree there. Probably going to get a better view through this jacket slump. Huh?
I think so. I was just about to say to you. You can go for a slide. That's it. Perfect.
I'm going to have to put on another couple of layers. And if we can brighten it up as much as possible. Boy, is it starting to get a little bit chilly. Oh, I'm just going to put it on top of all the shirts. I can't, it's got paint on it. Paint or toothpaste. Yogurt. It's neither paint nor toothpaste, it's yogurt. Airing my dirty laundry here. Yogurt stains. Clouds are getting darker and thicker and more ominous. Nice question, Lynn. Hello, Lynn. Lynn in Canada. Making a really nice observation there. We're seeing how alert Karula is. And wanting to know, are the cubs about as alert as she is, or are they relying on her more than anything else? Well, I've seen he's a bit nervous on the kill, but looking at Shavinzi, she's oblivious of the world around her right now, and she barely lifted her head at all while she was sleeping in that little patch of sand in the drainage line. White storks, or white storks? So early, it's like not even October. How can we have white storks? Okay, take a screen cap. I want to see this. White storks in September.
Where? At Gary Dam?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Not woolly-necked storks. Not yellow-billed storks.
Someone said there was a yellow-billed stork here the other day.
Somebody, okay, Tara's saying someone said there's a yellow-billed stork here the other day. Maybe it's a yellow-billed. The white storks have only just left Europe. They can't be here. Sorry? White with a black tail. What color is the beak, Seb? It can only be a yellow-billed stork. It can't be a white stork. If it is, it's early. Send it back to Europe. But I mean, if it's black at the back, that's a different story, because, well, the yellow-billed doesn't have as much black at the back as the white stork.
Yeah, but if it's a red bill, then it's a red.
You can't see the yellow.
Then it'll be.
No, well, if it's
white
completely
stork.
wild with just the tail. But I mean, Seb's saying he can't see the beak, so he can't see whether it's yellow or red. I mean, I know that's the most obvious. But I would say highly likely to have a yellow-billed stork at the dam, especially with the water level retreating like it is, and so much good fishing for a yellow-bill. Yes, no, Dave Hill. If Dave said there, yeah, Dave is a Benoni boy and he's a birder and he knows what he's talking about. Dave was the one I was asking questions about in Kenya, whether he's also experienced leopard in trees more there than here. But Dave, Jambo Bwana, and Dave's saying yellow-billed. I'm happy with that. But you see, white storks are only just leaving Europe, so they're still flying. They're still migrating. They're still coming through northern Africa. So, thank you very much for the keen observations of those of you who found the stork. Nice to know we have a yellow-billed stork at the dam. Karula's turned her back on us. See what? I was just looking at this jacket. There's a pocket, and then there's this pocket. You've even got a little hole for the earphone. Ergonomic clothing. Not that I haven't noticed it with my jacket, but there's one special pocket that's got a picture of a cell phone on it. I assume that pocket's designed for a cell phone. There's another pocket that's got a little hole in it for earphones to fit through, and you put your iPod in there and it's got an earphone picture on it. So they're even putting pockets on jackets now with little pictures to tell you what to put in your pocket. So what happens if I put my iPhone in my cell phone pocket? I mean my iPod. And I put my phone in my cell phone pocket. Will my iPod start ringing and will my cell phone play music?
Yeah, but it does anyway.
No, not mine. I'm still behind the scenes. I don't have a combination.
But yours is more up to date than my cell phone. Mine's still a break.
I suppose I could play music on the cell phone. I could play the radio. Anyways, getting dark, getting cold. Hyenas are possibly going to be awake and come by. I'm hoping Shavinzi's going to wake up and come by. Arlene wants to know if there are any males that this young... Oh, Audrey. Any males in the area that Shavinzi will be able to mate with? Yes, definitely. I mean, she'll be able to mate with Mbula. She'll be able to mate with... Yeah, it wouldn't be impossible for her to mate with Induna. I don't think that kind of inbreeding would still be perhaps to some extent acceptable. Or even, I don't know about her father. But yes, definitely. There would be a number of males that she would or could mate with when she's older. It would depend on where her territory is and whose territory she falls under when she settles down as an adult and she comes into estrus. The dominant male of that area will be the one that will cover her. Caught a whiff of that carcass. The smell of it is blowing around, and no doubt you're going to get the likes of hyena or something soon enough. I hope you're happy to sit here with her and them, and I'm hoping that we might see something with the light fading and night time coming. She's awake.
Oh, she's looking at her. When she...
Lifted her head. She will soon.
Be able to see her too well
Hello, Petra, from the Netherlands. Sorry about your other question, Petra. I just get too emotional with that subject. But another question from Petra. That's a very difficult one, and also one I can't really answer, but only because I don't know what to say. But Petra wants to know what's the most incredible sighting. Sure, Petra, that's a difficult one. You know, you're living in the bush, it's almost every day there's something incredible. So it's very hard to try and select out of a lifetime's worth of coming back to us. Welcome back, everyone. And yet another power cut. Little disconcerting. Could play havoc with charging if this happens during the night. But that is what it's like living in the bush. We're on the fringes of civilization. Well, beyond the fringes. So these things do happen. Goes to show we live from Djuma Game Reserve. And live with a leopard and her 2 cubs. Dying light of the day. It's getting darker. Crickets and katydids and a variety of insects are waking up. Okay, so leopard's going to sleep. Sometimes the wind does drop a little bit when the sun goes down, and it maybe has just a little bit. But noises are getting a bit louder. And we don't have a great view of any of them. I'm sitting here in the hope that something will change. The status quo will change a little bit. To our left is the young female cub sleeping in the riverbed. This is the mom, who's now, we just got spots. And to our right under a tree is the little boy who's feeding on the remains of an impala that was killed yesterday. And with it getting dark, all sorts of things can change. Other animals can come along. But we need to, we've been sitting patiently. Basically we want to see something. Let's move back a little bit since we can't see her much. We'll get back to see what the little, see a gust of wind comes along. She's nervous as a mother cat looking after kittens. Petra didn't get my answer. Can't even see him under that bush anymore. But she's gonna wake up hopefully. Can you see? Let's just see. Where is he? Sorry. Yeah, I was getting there, Seb. Just trying to find a position where we're going to be able to see them a bit better. Or maybe further back. Just there. A little girl asleep under a tree. Let's try and bounce some of the light on her. Petra, I was saying, thanks for your question, and it's a very difficult question to answer. Petra was asking what my favorite sighting or my most incredible sighting. And what makes it so difficult is that most of the time in the bush, one tries to find something special about every single day. And every day there's something special. Every day there's an incredible thing happening. And it's whether you see it or not. But over a lifetime, I don't know how to put one above another about really incredible things that I've seen. I think the saddest thing of all is that a lot of the stuff that I've seen alone, and not many really wonderful things I can say to somebody. Well, do you remember that amazing moment? Oh, it was a night jar. Okay, I'm gonna just move my light quickly. He's still chewing, looking at me. So it's a great question, but it's one of those hard ones, Petra, because every day I'd probably think of another incredible moment that maybe surpasses the one I thought of yesterday. Hi everybody. Changed my mind, I just changed my mind. The cats were all really quite peaceful, and it's windy, they're nervous, it's getting dark. I don't really want to sit there with the light on them if they're not really doing anything. And by the sounds of things, most people are going up to the lion. So I think it's a nice opportunity to just leave Karula and the children with their kill, so that they can be alert and they can, well, they need to be alone. We've got a few more minutes to drive, maybe the odd drop falling, I don't know if I'm feeling it right. I saw a flash of lightning, actually I did see the drop now. But,
I don't know, I just saw something.
yeah, but the sky is building up to something tonight. There are a few drops falling, so we're just going to make our way closer to home. It's a convenient way to go because there are lion tracks that came this way, and I'm still not convinced that lion went back across to the north. Let's go up towards those buffalo and see what's happening. If we can make it there. Keep quiet, guys, we make so much noise. Oh. No. Okay, Linda lost the answer this time. Temperature doom. Linda, I was saying there are 3 answers. It's starting to rain. 3 answers. There's my answer, there's the official weather answer, and there's Tara's thermometer answer. My answer, the temperature right now, it's dropping rapidly. It's probably down to about 15. No, maybe 17 degrees Celsius. Call it 60 degrees. I don't know. Forget now. Celsius. The real temperature is probably about 18, maybe. Because it always feels colder for me. Or is thermometer. Says just above 10 degrees, which is at about just above 50. I'd say it's about 60 degrees. Tara's thermometer says 50. And, well, yeah, let's get towards home. We're not going to be able to do much other than go towards home. In fact, I'm going to have to speed it up a bit. The rain is starting to come in now. So it was a good time to leave Karula. Probably why we're having so many power cuts is because there's storms around. So, let's see, maybe find you one more thing on the way home. Gonna get a little bit of water on the lens, maybe. And tomorrow it is Yes?
Huh?
You driving tomorrow?
I believe so.
So, get your thinking caps on. Quiz time.
Sure. So we've only got 4 more who does it.
Tara's saying only 4 more who dung it. Who dung? So is it who dungs it or who dung it?
Who done it?
Who's dung it? Who dungs it? Yes, only 4 more who dung it. Only 4 more visits to Teddy for Sept till we come back 2 weeks time. 2 weeks later, little Teddy's gonna be. Whoa, whoa. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. And well, when we come back, hopefully there'll be a bit of rain and there'll be some remarkable creatures hanging about.
Remember the big hole up ahead.
Yes, I remember. I always think the same thing when I'm on camera with you. Remember this big one. I think we all think to the person who's driving, remember the big hole. Because you can't go too much into the buffalo thorn.
I was there when the elephant dug it.
Oh yeah?
It was a young elephant.
So, Gallagher shortcut. Sure. Rain. Alright, we're going to have to say goodbye. The rain's starting to get heavy. So, Seb, if you're ready, I've got to. We're going to have to say goodbye. What?
I think we're going to get wet.
We are going to get wet. That's why I'm going to have to say goodbye. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the cats. And tomorrow we'll find other things for you too. Tara's on drive. Who dung it? Maybe elephants, maybe cats, maybe lion, maybe dogs. Tara was an A1 there the other day with the dogs. My name is Mark, Seb in Final Control. And Alex, take care everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye. We're going to get dry. Or stay dry.
Good evening, everyone. Seb here in FC. Well, saw that coming. All those big clouds, that wind, kind of knew that it was going to rain. How they're gonna make their way? They're gonna be able to make their way back before it starts pouring too much, and so that the equipment is not gonna get too wet. And let's see. It might be a quick rain, and it might be just nice and shiny tomorrow morning, or it might be raining tomorrow morning as well. We'll have to see how it goes. But stay tuned and have a good evening or great day. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll let you know if we're able to go on drive or not, weather depending. But hope you enjoyed the drive, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.